You are now nominated as the U.S. ambassador to Israel. And I could tell you right now, if Dennis was on the radio today, he would be cheerleading with pom-poms that Governor Mike Huckabee is the U.S. ambassador to Israel. Governor, congratulations on that. And tell us the stakes, what you plan to do, and fill our audience in, please.
Well, Charlie, I appreciate it. Let me begin by just saying thank you to you. I'm convinced that without Turning Point USA, I'm not sure Donald Trump would have won. He certainly would not have won with the landslide that he did. And the mandate that he goes in with is, without doubt, largely due to the efforts that Turning Point has done across the country. So kudos to you, my friend, and all of the incredible people at Turning Point. You guys, on Inauguration Day, January 20th, you ought to take a deep bow and just recognize, yes, you did it. You did it well.
Well, thank you. It's the Lord. I really believe it was the hand of God, but please continue.
Well, it was, but, you know, God's hands sometimes need a little help down here, and he calls on us to be his hands and his feet, and you guys have been just that. I'll tell you, this has been a kind of a shocking 24 hours for me, and it was almost exactly 24 hours ago when President Trump gave me the call. I wasn't expecting it. It wasn't something I'd been lobbying for. But when he asked, quite frankly, it's the one position that the president could have asked me to do that I was willing and really ready to do because of my passion for the state of Israel, which goes all the way back to 1973. That's when I made my first trip to Israel. I was still a month shy of my 18th birthday, and it was life-changing for me. And since that time, I've been probably 100 times to Israel. I've taken tens of thousands of people to visit Israel, gotten to know most of the government officials there. I've walked from Dan to Beersheba and have been throughout the country. And it's a place I just truly love. And I believe it is a special place because God made it special. And so without any apology in saying this, I'm a simple guy. I believe the scripture. Genesis 12, those who bless Israel will be blessed. Those who curse Israel will be cursed. I want to be on the blessing side, not the curse side. And this, for me, is an extraordinary honor, but it's also a very weighty responsibility that the president has asked me to do. And I am honored to do this for my country and for my president.
Well, Governor, and let's not forget, you are going to be in the ambassador's residence in Jerusalem, not Tel Aviv. And that is incredibly significant. Please explain to our audience.
Well, I was there when the embassy was moved on that incredible day. I wept because for years I've been praying some president would actually have the courage to do this. And every president, and it goes back, Democrats and Republicans, Bill Clinton, George Bush, it didn't matter who, all said they were going to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. They never did. They always found an excuse or a reason, it'll create tension and hardship. Donald Trump did it. And I'll never forget, my daughter was press secretary. I happened to be at the White House, and I had a visit just one-on-one with President Trump in the Oval Office, and we were chatting. And I said, Mr. President, thank you so much for moving the embassy. Most people didn't think you'd ever do it because no one else has done it. And I know that every bit of pressure was for you to not do it, from the State Department, from other nations and its leaders. Everywhere, people said, don't do it. Even the senators and people in the House who always voted for it to happen, deep down, they were afraid of it. So I asked him, I said, why did you do it? Charlie, I'll never forget what he said. This is classic Trump, and you know him very, very well, so you'll understand how accurate this is. He looked at me, he said, well, because I said I was going to do it, and it's the right thing to do. Simple as that. And I thought, now that is an executive. That is a leader. That is a decision maker. And I just realized what an extraordinary blessing we had as having Donald Trump at the White House. And I was hurt, deeply wounded when the 2020 election was called the other way. But I got to tell you, I'm ecstatic that he goes back in, ready to go, picking some incredible people to be on his team.
Totally.
And I believe he will have the most impactful and successful presidency, perhaps in all of American history.
Now, I hope everyone understands some ambassadorships are ceremonial. They're given as friends of the president, people that kind of want a nice end to their career. You could think of a Caribbean island to the Turks and Caicos, Cayman Islands, maybe even Austria. Ambassador to Israel is a completely different ballgame, everybody. Governor, can you explain? You are actively involved in diplomacy, in high-stakes negotiations, in representing American interests, not just Israel, but you are really at the tip of the spear for all Western Arab communications because it has to go through the prism of American-Israeli relations. And so this is not just kind of, okay, Governor Huckabee, get a nice suntan down in Jamaica. You are going to be on the front lines of some of the most consequential geopolitical decisions. Please, Governor.
Well, it is a very strategic role because so much of world peace is made or is broken in that little area of the Middle East, particularly that sliver of real estate we called Israel, no bigger than the size of New Jersey. Israel occupies 1/644th of the landmass of the countries that are controlled by Muslim leadership. I mean, that's staggering when you think about it. So for every inch of Israeli land and real estate, there are 644 pieces of land controlled by Muslim countries. When people say Israel needs to give up some land to attain peace, they have no idea what they're talking about. It's a dumb statement. The role that I will play is to try to help extend the Abraham Accords, which I don't think President Trump ever got proper credit for. It was an extraordinary breakthrough, truly amazing, the breakthrough that presented. And there are pieces of that still need to happen, particularly with Saudi Arabia, with Qatar, and with other countries. And so that'll be part of what I hope to be able to play a role in. But, the job of the ambassador is not to represent himself, is not to so much put forth what I think. I'll be there to represent this administration, this president, and the policies that he was elected to carry out. So I've been asked, well, what do you think you're going to want to do? I said, I'm going to want to do what the president wants me to do because that's what an ambassador does. One of the reasons he had some challenges in his first term, there were people he had appointed to office. I think the first Secretary of State that he had is a good example, who forgot that no one had elected him to anything. The only person that got elected on November the 5th was Donald J. Trump. So he's the person that the people have said, you're our leader. Anyone he appoints or employs, it is our job to carry out the policies that he was elected by the American people to put forth.
Governor, thank you for your leadership, and I've always wanted to see this. I pray I'll see you next year in Jerusalem. So thank
Charlie,
you.
I can't wait for you to come, and I look forward to hosting you when you do. Thank you for all you do. God bless you, my friend.